In every market cycle, a narrative emerges, a siren song for capital seeking refuge from the storm. In 2008, it was gold. For decades, it was the US Treasury bond. Today, a new contender has entered the arena, promising not just safety, but a complete paradigm shift. This contender is decentralized finance. The pitch is undeniably seductive. A financial system built on immutable code, not on the fallible judgment of bankers and politicians. A system where your assets are truly yours, shielded from institutional collapse and central bank whim. The ultimate market crash, safe haven. But is this promise a revolutionary reality? Or is it the most sophisticated, high-stakes financial fraud of our generation? Can DeFi truly be your shelter when the traditional financial world is burning? Or is it merely a different kind of fire, burning hotter and faster? This is DeFi's true test. To understand the scale of this test, we must first appreciate the vision. Decentralized finance was born from the ashes of the 2008 financial crisis. It saw a system where Lehman Brothers could vaporize $600 billion in assets, where Bear Stearns could evaporate overnight, and it proposed a radical alternative. The core tenets are powerful. Self-custody, meaning you and only you control your private keys and your funds. Permissionless access, where anyone with an internet connection can participate without needing the approval of a gatekeeper. And radical transparency, with every transaction recorded on a public blockchain for all to see. This isn't just about sending cryptocurrency from one wallet to another. This is about replicating the entire financial stack. Lending and borrowing protocols like Aave and Compound, which operate 24/7 without a bank manager. Decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, where you can trade assets through a liquidity pool, a concept that automates the role of a traditional market maker. And then there's the truly novel, yield farming, where users provide capital to these protocols in exchange for rewards, generating returns that, at their peak, made traditional savings accounts look like a rounding error. The promise was a more resilient, more equitable, and fundamentally more stable financial architecture. A safe haven built on the certainty of mathematics, not the fragility of trust. That was the promise. The reality, however, has proven to be a far more dangerous landscape. The first and most glaring vulnerability lies in the very foundation of DeFi, the smart contract. A smart contract is just code, and code can have bugs. But in this ecosystem, a bug isn't just a glitch, it's an open vault. We are not talking about theoretical risks. We are talking about a relentless procession of 9- and 10-figure catastrophes. Consider the Ronin network, the blockchain underpinning the game Axie Infinity. In March 2022, attackers exploited a backdoor through a gas-free RPC node, compromising 5 of the 9 validator private keys. The result? The siphoning of over $620 million. This wasn't a complex code exploit, it was a failure of basic operational security in a system that presented itself as decentralized, but had critical points of failure. Or look at the Wormhole Bridge, a protocol designed to connect different blockchains. In February 2022, a bug in the smart contract IOMS signature verification process allowed an attacker to mint 120,000 wrapped ether out of thin air, valued at the time at over $320 million. The code was the law, and the law was flawed. The very mechanism designed to ensure trust was the vector for the attack. These are not isolated incidents. They are the recurring, systemic heartbeats of a sector rife with technical fragility. Beyond simple bugs in the code, there is a more insidious form of manipulation that attacks the system's perception of reality. DeFi protocols do not exist in a vacuum. They need to know the price of real-world assets. They rely on oracles to feed them this price data. Corrupt the oracle and you corrupt the entire protocol. The textbook case is the Mango Markets exploit of October 2022. An attacker used their own capital to manipulate the price of the platform, S-native MNGO token, on a low liquidity exchange. This artificially inflated price was then fed by the oracle back to the Mango Markets lending protocol. The attacker's collateral was now perceived as being worth vastly more than it was, allowing them to take out massive loans against it, effectively draining the platform of all its liquidity. The total haul was $112 million. This wasn't breaking the code, it was weaponizing the protocol's own rules against itself, a sophisticated form of financial fraud that is unique to this programmable environment. And then there's the most common and crude form of deception, the rug pull. Anonymous developers launch a project, create hype, attract capital into a liquidity pool, and then use a hidden function in the smart contract to drain all the funds and disappear. This is the dark side of permissionless innovation. According to Chainalysis, rug pulls constituted the dominant form of cryptocurrency-based crime in 2021, accounting for over $2.8 billion in losses. It's a constant grinding threat that preys on the uninformed, turning the promise of open access into a hunting ground. Even for the most sophisticated user participating in legitimate, audited protocols, there's a risk that is often misunderstood and dangerously underestimated: impermanent loss. When you provide liquidity to a decentralized exchange, say an Ether, and a stablecoin pair, you are exposed to this risk. If the price of Ether skyrockets, the algorithm rebalances your holdings, leaving you with less Ether and more stablecoins than if you had simply held the assets in your own wallet. The loss becomes permanent only when you withdraw your funds, but during a period of high volatility, exactly the kind of market crash we are testing against, the divergence can be severe. This isn't a scam or a hack. It's a fundamental market mechanic of many DeFi protocols that can erode your capital while you believe you are safely earning yield. It transforms a potential safe haven into a source of amplified downside risk. Perhaps the most profound deception, however, is the very premise of decentralization itself. Many protocols are decentralized in name only. They operate with admin keys, multi-sig wallets controlled by a small handful of founders, or governance structures that are easily dominated by large early investors. This brings back the very problem DeFi was meant to solve: a central point of failure. And no event has exposed this failure more brutally than the $40 billion collapse of the Terra Luna ecosystem in May 2022. Terra was not a minor project. It was a top 10 cryptocurrency ecosystem. Its algorithmic stablecoin, UST, was pitched as the Holy Grail, a decentralized currency that would hold its $1 peg through code, not through collateral held by a company. But the algorithm was the single point of failure. When market pressure caused UST to depeg, the mechanism designed to stabilize it, by minting infinite amounts of the sister token Luna, entered a hyperinflationary death spiral. In the span of a week, an entire financial ecosystem, which people believed was a safe haven for their capital, was reduced to zero. This wasn't a hack. It was a fundamental design flaw in a supposedly decentralized system, a flaw that wiped out more wealth than many of the most infamous corporate bankruptcies in history. So, how does DeFi fare when we apply the ultimate pressure test, a real-world market crash? The evidence is damning. Far from acting as a safe haven, the core mechanisms of DeFi have often served as a volatility accelerant. During major downturns, we witness cascading liquidations. On lending platforms like Aave, users borrow against their crypto collateral. When the market crashes, the value of that collateral plummets. If it drops below a certain threshold, the smart contract automatically sells the collateral on the open market to pay back the loan. This mass selling floods the market with more supply, pushing prices down even further, which in turn triggers more liquidations. It's a pro-cyclical doom loop, a digital bank run executed with brutal, automated efficiency. Instead of dampening the crash, the system amplifies it. Furthermore, the composability of DeFi, the idea that protocols can be stacked like money Legos, creates hidden systemic risk. A yield farming strategy might involve depositing Ether on one platform, taking the receipt token and using it as collateral on a second platform, then borrowing a stablecoin to deposit into a liquidity pool on a third platform. It's a complex, interconnected web. The failure or exploit of a single Lego can cause the entire structure to collapse, creating a domino effect that cascades across the ecosystem. This risk was supercharged by the involvement of large, centralized firms like Celsius and Three Arrows Capital, who use DeFi protocols for their high-risk arbitrage strategies. When they collapsed under the weight of the bear market, they left massive holes in DeFi protocols, defaulting on uncollateralized loans and cratering the token prices of the projects they had invested in. They exposed the uncomfortable truth that the supposedly separate DeFi world was deeply intertwined with the same leveraged, high-risk behavior of traditional finance. So can decentralized finance be your crash safe haven? Based on the evidence, the verdict is an unequivocal no. In its current form, DeFi is not a safe harbor. It is the deep, turbulent water. It is a high beta, risk-on technology sector, characterized by unaudited code, anonymous actors, novel attack vectors, and feedback loops that amplify, rather than absorb, market shocks. The financial fraud is not always as simple as a rug pull. Sometimes it's the fraud of a flawed premise, the misrepresentation of risk, the illusion of decentralization. The promise remains a distant light on the horizon. For DeFi to ever mature into a truly resilient alternative, the path forward is arduous. It requires a radical improvement in smart contract auditing standards and formal verification. It needs robust, decentralized identity solutions to hold bad actors accountable without sacrificing privacy. It demands the development of sophisticated on-chain insurance protocols that can actually pay out during a systemic crisis. And it needs oracle networks that are fundamentally resistant to the kind of manipulation we've seen time and again. Until then, we must view decentralized finance not as a finished product, but as a grand, chaotic, and incredibly dangerous experiment. It is a frontier of financial innovation, and like any frontier, it is largely lawless and fraught with peril. It is not the place you go to hide from a crash. For now, it is the crash.